stuff, like it does have that polish to it, but just the location work itself,
huge,
like there's
Halloween vibes. Like it's got all that stuff that we were talking about kind of with when we were discussing Halloween, the 4, 5, and 6, where it's just like there's it's just leaves blowing in the wind, like haystacks and scarecrows and stuff like that, and it looked like the colors are very vibrant and very orange and deep blues, and so I thought it looked really good for a Sandler movie.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with just like the overall kind of I guess sort of like spooky Halloween time vibe of the thing, while also being like a blatant, sort of studio comedy in that kind of way.
Yeah.
And most of the story is just, he just really wants to make Halloween and trick-or-treating safe for all the little kids, and he really loves the event, and everyone who's grown up with him his whole life, who are all sort of like middle-aged people now, just really love making fun of him because they all think he's stupid and annoying and no one gives a shit about him. And just watching him sort of like persist through that and be like, that is not going to make me love the holiday any less and make me try any less.
Yeah. Because
he's almost got a little bit of like a Richard Jewell
Dude,
vibe
I was
to him.
just going to say it. I was like, this is Adam Sandler's Richard Jewell, baby. So awesome.
Yeah, where he's just so sweet, and he
absolutely.
At times too he thinks that he's sort of like Salem's resident Halloween cop is what he thinks for a little bit. He even has like a sash where he's like been made into like a deputy, and he has sort of like authority over people.
That he made.
And so large parts of the movie are just that, and it's a really cool, sweet, like cute vibe to it. And even some of the gags I found, the gag that worked the best for me was when he's always riding on his bike and everyone in town hates him so much. The kids hate him, the adults hate him, everyone hates him so much that they started off by showing the kids like throwing things at him, just objects that they have. They just throw like basic shit like off the street. Sometimes they're throwing like entire jack-o'-lanterns. Sometimes they're throwing like just objects they've got in their pockets. But by the time we get to like the end of the film, this gag is a recurring gag, and it escalates to the point where they're throwing like entire tubas at him, like things they couldn't possibly have on them. And there's shots of like, there's one where he's like running through the forest, and like there's literally no one in the forest. The forest is throwing shit at him.
Yeah, it becomes completely cartoonish. And what I also love is like he keeps that energy throughout, like the way that he uses his thermos. It's like this super gadget, like military grade thermos that he can swing from trees.
It's like a Swiss Army knife, right? Like it's got everything.
It's great. Like it can swing from trees, it can heat things up, it can cold things down. It's just hilarious. And the way that he uses it.
At one point he uses it as binoculars.
Like it's a ridiculous contraption, and it's so it's just so cute and just kind of that heartwarming childhood funny that I really appreciate.
Yeah, and even then, some of the the set pieces of people like going missing, there is some actual sort of like creepy sort of like Halloween vibes in as much as there can be in something that is being this blatantly.
Well, what I love
that
what they use with one of his character traits is just how easily afraid he is. So instead of like a bunch of jump scares for us, they're more like jump scares for Hubie, and every reaction that he has is genuinely hilarious. Like it's nothing more than just Adam Sandler reacting and screaming at the top of his lungs, but he just has a really like the way that he moves his face, and of course he has his very funny voice that he's doing. There is a lot of good physical comedy. Like I was laughing every single time he would be holding something and he'd just get scared and throw it into a window and it would break. It's a very simple gag. You've seen it 1,000 times, but there's something about Adam Sandler's timing with it that got me like almost every time he did it.
Yeah, and the way that I feel like they've just they've actually decently like thought through his character a little bit, and he is just a very cute, endearing character to like hang out with, which honestly I find is what is the sort of like the make or break for an Adam Sandler movie for me. It's like it's like, do I enjoy spending time with this character And there are some movies where he's just so much of an asshole that I just don't.
Yeah.
And then there's ones like this where I'm more endeared to him, and the way that also he was able to fit so many of his usual sort of like recurring cameo force into the movie in like cool ways.
They use Rob Schneider so well in this, because I don't like Rob Schneider. He's very hit and miss, mostly miss for me a lot of the time. But the way that he's revealed in this as the crazy like mental institution guy with the blonde hair wig, it was very funny
very
to me.
Halloween.
I actually enjoyed that a lot. Yeah. And then Steve Buscemi going through like a mental crisis, thinking he's a werewolf, like just some.
And then he grows the hair, and it's kind of revealed that maybe he is a werewolf, and that he even says that he was at the Salem Witch. He's like, I remember that. I remember the Salem Witch trials.
Yeah.
But he's a nice werewolf who is being institutionalized to like become an like less werewolf. Like that's his whole thing, which is like funny. Steve Buscemi is like, there's lots of cool little like side character stuff like that I just find funny. And when I was watching it with my buddy Mitch.